Good morning, you guys. Hope you're having a good morning. In this video, I'm going to be talking about what is going on in the elections and how it is affecting the stock market and what I think is going on. Now, I did do a little bit of research in this video, so it's not just purely up to theory. It's actually, I've basically done a little bit of research on this video for the back end, so I can know what's happening, and I can explain it to you guys, and I can explain my theory, and then I'm going to explain what I think is going to happen. Not is what I know is going to happen, but what I think is going to happen. Alright, I'm just going to turn the volume down a little bit. Alright, so, screen. Alright, so, as you can see, right here, we have all my, I drew, pretty much all the support and resistances, and I categorized them on if they were a support or a resistance. So, how many times was this sorry, that should be a red. No, this should be a blue, I'm sorry. Alright, so, what the reds mean are that they're strong resistance points. What the blue means are, it can go either way, and it's really just up to random. Then the green is pretty much a support, a strong support, and it has pretty much been a strong support for it's been a strong support. So, I'm just going to break it down right here. So, as you can see, support, resistance for this blue line, and that's all the data we have on this. Resistance, support, support, there we go, so it's a strong green. Support, resistance, resistance, but it end up becomes a support because that basically just gets canceled out. Resistance, support, 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 support. This one becomes a support, resistance, 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 resistance. So, resistance. And then right here, there's actually 1, 2 supports, 3 supports. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 resistances. So that's how I did it. And then the strong reds are pretty much, they've always been resistances, and they basically equate to that. Alright, so, and if we look right here on this one, you may be saying, well, this is a support. Well, look, it's resistance here, and it really doesn't use it as a support. It kind of just breaks above it, but it doesn't use it as a support, which is what a lot of other things do. So if it was a support, it would come back down, and these red candles would stretch downward and touch that, and then go up. But it didn't. So what I think is going to happen is that what I think is going to happen. That's a pretty strong question. All right, so not what I think is going to happen. I'm actually just going to cover what I think is happening based on my research. All right, so in the election cycles, they pretty much all election cycles do this little trend right here. For the past month, they go down. Then, but they don't usually do this. All right, so this could just be an election phenomenon. There's 2 ways that this could be. This could be an election anomaly. This could be a bank thing. And this could be a day trader, an options trading, and swing trading thing for small investors, but a lot of us like that because we are willing to take risks like that. So what I think is going to number 1, election anomaly. They weren't predicting the person that's currently winning to win, which means that banks are kind of stepping back and a lot of people are stepping up. And they are just buying and selling at a mad rate during the day. As you can see right here, the volume is a lot higher. The volume is a lot higher in these days than pretty much before, since it's been downtrending. And then we get our first spike here, we get our first spike here, we get our first spike here, here, here. So those are all spikes. And as you can see, RSI, pretty much through the roof right now as the top of the resistance right here. But as you can see, it just stayed below, which means it was worth good. All right, it was worth that. It was worth it. All right. So what I'm thinking is that during the day, it's regular trading. There's some volume, but there's not a lot of volume. But there is more than there's more than enough volume in the morning. So as you can see right here, ton of volume. One of our highest sticks of volume was at 7 o'clock in the morning, and that is right before the market opens and my time. All right, so then as you can see, we have our most volume right here. Also at 7 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 7, so it really doesn't matter. 8 o'clock, 8 o'clock. So as you can see, that there is just a freaking ton to process. All right, so what I'm thinking is that banks are trading during the after hours and making anomalies in the market, basically saying that they're going to sell at this price. And since there aren't that many buyers, it's gonna artificially move the share price higher than it actually is, and people are gonna start buying for that price. And I think that's what's happening in the after hours and causing the entire market to just completely do that, completely just go up pretty much. So, as you can see, yeah, pretty much I think that's what's happening, and from my research, that's what's happening. All right, so until there is a final decided winner of the election, it isn't that plausible to keep trading this, because it's either artificial, it's an election anomaly, or just people, or just randomness. All right, so it's whatever practically. But all right, I'm going to draw some support resistance lines, and I'm going to basically see what could possibly happen in the future. All right, so as you can see right here. All right, so I'm going to go over support resistance lines first. So as you can see, there's a resistance right here, which means since it's been on this roll, it could take a pullback. The ways that it can go now are it takes a pullback down to this support right here, then it brings it up. There's a consolidation period, and then it spikes up again, and then we have ourselves a basically a resistance point. But this could mean one of two things. It could either go one or two ways. It could continue breaking through the channel and do a few more pullbacks until it gets up here, and that's when I think that we're really in the dangerous zone, because from that it can pretty much just break down, and it's either going to use this as a support resistance, or it's going to go like that. So I'm just going to draw all my probable ways out. So that, since that was support, so I think like that. It maybe come up here again because that was a strong support, and then break down again. All right, and then there could just be the anomaly of the market where it goes like this, and then once it hits after hours, next morning spikes up. Think it would resistance through the day, and then either spike up or continue to go down. So I'm going to highlight these trends right here by there. So I'm just going to bring this over. So I'm going to highlight them. So this is the best outcome possible. Alright, so that's one plan. This is another plan. Because once we elect our official, it's going to become very clear if it's up or going to go down. So it could just be setting itself up for a major fail at any one of these points right here. But we're just going to draw. So this would be one of the worst cases possible right here. Right, and then as you can see, that this would be a good case scenario, because if we break through this resistance, it continues to go up, but there's only a few probable ways that this could happen, or you know what, it could just completely break down right now and head for this support, it could actually just completely break down and head for that resistance support right there. And then it kind of depends on market factors and market conditions, and it just gets weaker and weaker and weaker and trades in between these lines, which would not be a stellar which wouldn't be like a good plan, but it's one of the better plans if that happens. Because once we find it out, the market's either going to be say, all right, well, what the heck's going to happen, and what can we do about it? So I'm not going to say who I think is going to win. I'm not going to say anything about that at all. But these are pretty much the probabilities. I'm going to go over every single one right now. So if it wants to continue to go up, it needs to see this as a resistance point and a resistance point. But if it continues to go up on this blue, it shows that it was an anomaly, right? So we can get the blue out of it. And then what could happen for the blue is it basically, when we find out who's elected, it's either going to break way down or up above this resistance or this resistance. That's the anomaly issue, all right? Then we have one of the worst issues, all right? So it wants to go up, it's not an anomaly, and price action is just price action, and people just want the stock market to go up. So it continues to go up, pushes, and then we get to a breaking point, which could be the election, something new tax thing, maybe coronavirus spikes, we go into hiding again. That could mean that it either goes like this, which would be good, or it takes a breaking point and it starts to head down, which I don't think. If it bounces from here to here, there's a few different ways what can happen. It can break right here. Alright, so then if it basically sees this as a support, it's not guaranteed that it's going to go back up and it's going to go back down again, but as you're more probable to, more likely to continue to go up. Right, so as it breaks right here, if it sees this as a support, that's good. And then if it continues right here, and basically this was a massive pullback. Shoot, not that. If it sees this as just a massive pullback, that could mean another thing. All right, so we just drew our lines, and All right, so best possible scenario. There's a little bit of pullback because it's not a market anomaly. We've already covered the market anomaly. It would spike up, and then once we found out who was elected, it basically turned into chaos for a bit. Good case scenario, it continues to push up, and it just is not a market anomaly, and it could go a few different ways. And I plotted those places out. So now I'm just going to delete them. So there's 3 scenarios where it can go good. Alright, so now consolidation. This is, I think, one of the better ways to go, but it's not good, it's not great. It basically says, well, this is a resistance. It basically says, well, this is a resistance right here. That is the middle of our trend, and we can expect a downward trend, upward trend, and we could be trading within a channel for a longer period of time because we don't know what's going to happen, which is better and worse. So the reasons why it's better is we have market security and people can protect their assets. But what is most likely going to happen? Not really. It's most likely going to be something, the market anomaly where we talked about last time, where it spikes up, either breaks down here, it either breaks down there, continues up, breaks down here, goes like that. All right. So those are the best possible case scenarios right there that I think can happen. And going into some fundamental analysis, people are worried, they don't know what to do, they don't really know what to think. The market's kind of the same way. They've been trying to predict it for a long time, but they haven't really. But that's just my take on the market right now. So, if you liked it, subscribe, leave a like. I don't really care though, because I know we're just people trying to learn some stocks. Alright, so, sorry that was a kind of long video, but I think I explained it pretty darn nicely. I don't really know how to say that, but like, that's what I mean. Alright, so, thank you for watching. See you later.